Today, I want you to completely shake your mind of the idea that a man's value, that your value is tied to your ability to provide. Average man, he grows up and his mom teaches him that he needs to stay in school, pay attention, get a really good job so he can provide for his wife. Now, his dad tells him that a man needs to be able to provide for his family, aka give a woman some money, and of course it's for the house, for the kids' college funds. But in reality, it really just comes down to the fact that the woman has these ideas of where the money needs to go and the man needs to comply. Now, what are the women taught? The women are taught, baby, you better keep your panties on, you better keep your legs closed until a man puts a ring on your finger. And they're also taught, make sure that it's a man who can, provide. They want you to provide. A woman has to be provided for and a man has to provide. But if we just peel the first layer off of this and we look deeper, we can see that the woman is being taught to exchange her body and withhold the services of her body for financial gratuity. The definition of prostitution is the exchange of sexual services for financial gratuity. So we find that our society has been structured in a way that shapes all men to be complicit in this system, to grow up to be tricks. And it's taught all of our little girls to grow up to be prostitutes. Now, of course, there's 2 or 3 extra steps to it. As we've mentioned, there's marriage, but ultimately they're taught to come with their handout and collect that money. And the men are taught to put that handout full of money and pass it on to their woman. Now, if that's not pimping, I don't know what is. So now that we've seen that the world has taught you to see yourself as an ATM card, and most men will actually proudly trumpet this. Oh, I can provide, especially the older generation of men. They greatly pride themselves on their ability to provide. There's no speech of what else they can provide as far as character, principles, integrity, manliness. There's no speech of any other higher level. It's just money, money, money. And then the sad thing is, there's no discussion of anything besides money that gives quality to a man. There's no intellect, integrity, character, morals, principles. There's absolutely no discourse at all about what else a man can provide besides money. And of course, it's the same with women. Very little is spoken about the greatness of women. Very little is spoken about the majesty of what they can provide in a man's life. It's just sex and money. Women give sex and give money. So our society has watered down to essentially nothing but prostitutes and johns. And it's a very bad place to be in. So you have to break yourself from this. Now that we've seen that there are things that a man can provide besides these things, and that it's foolish to believe that just because a man makes some money, he's a good man, which nobody would agree with. Think about it just for a moment. Does the fact that a man makes a lot of money mean he's a good man? No, there's plenty of terrible men who make lots of money. And there's plenty of very broke men who try, but are very good men. So it only takes a moment of introspection to look at this and to see that it's absolute nonsense. And now that we can see, it leads to the next question. Well, what actually makes a great man? What actually makes a man of high caliber, of high value? It's obviously more rooted around his own personal integrities, his own personal principles, because otherwise you're just being a trick, a john, a solicitor of prostitutes. And it's now your responsibility to show the women in your life that they are more than just a prostitute. They are more than just sex for money.